Okay, this is part 2. And like I said, I'm going to grab my 2B pencil. My 2H, sorry. And what I want to do is I want to go from dark to light, just like this. If you look at this, I go from dark to light. So dark here to light. Now, if you're really trying to test your abilities, you'll go from dark to light and light to dark. Dark to light, light to dark. But we're using 6 different pencils, so I'm not going to worry so much about that. So all I'm trying to do is I want to try to stay as close in that line as possible. I'm going to pull this, because again, I'm looking here. And I'm really, this is not really, so we got 1, 2, 3, we go to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and then 5. Now notice how light I did that. Now I'm going to come back here, and you can see that this isn't as close to that as possible. So I'm going to come here. I can take both down to the same value. Okay. Third one. And what you're going to start seeing is these kind of disappear into the other one. I'm going to go lighter. Come back to this one. Because you're only going to get so dark with these pencils. That's what I want you to keep in mind. That as dark as you can get these, you know, like right here, if we look here, this is probably as close to the values I'm going to get. And we do this so when we're working on paintings and pictures, okay, I'm going to come here. And you're going to see something when I turn this, okay. So if this is as dark as I can get, then my next shade with this 2H pencil, and you can see the grade here, grade here, grade here. Okay, so let's match this up. Now this teaches us to see color. It teaches us that when we're doing this, if I'm coming here like so, I'm really trying to get all light out of that so I can make it completely dark, I can. And this is just the process like anything else. Now if you notice, there's a couple shades lighter here. And if I come to here, you can start seeing that this one here is still a little, this one here is too dark. See how light that is? If I go here, yeah. So I'm going to come, that's dark here a little bit. And then I have to take this down a shade. It's still not close to that. So these 3 shades will always be close. Now let's go to this 4th one. Now if I start taking this down and I start going like this, you can kind of see how this kind of just starts, you know, dark to light. Okay. Okay, now we turn over here and we go from here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 value should be here. And that's still a little light. So I've got to take this down. Not too bad, which means this one's too light. Take that down, and I got to take this down. So this is really, every time you do this, all you're doing is seeing more and more and more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 right here. Okay, now we can come lighter. And you can kind of see when I start getting to the last 4, 7, 8, 9, 7 through 10. See how that works? Okay. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to finish off this. Make sure it's nice and squared. Releasing the pressure. Also, how do you notice I'm holding my pencil? On the side. I'm not trying to do detail. All I'm trying to do is, I'm going to, like that. Okay, now that's the 2H. So this is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when I move this across here, it has that feeling, that 5, of what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's kind of what I'm looking at when you're doing these contour value lines, okay? There's the 2H. Now we want to go to H. And I've already previously sharpened these, so I'm going to do the same thing. Now already you can tell the difference, can't you? So I'm going to come here and do the same thing. See, I can come, because I know where this is going, I can come all the way down here. But you can already see a difference there, can't you? So I'm going to come back again. And every time I move forward, now what do you notice? And you're able to see a line here, aren't you? Yeah. So as I get lighter with these, I don't have to use as much pressure either. Because I'm actually putting down more graphite, because I'm actually dealing with an H rather than a 2H. Okay, I'm going to come here. And things start, changing a little bit. Because you're dealing with different hardnesses of pencil. And what I would probably like to see is why does the different hardness of pencil make such a difference? And you can see I'm having to work a little bit more with this one because it does put down more lead. But I'm able to extend my values, aren't I? I'm also being a little more careful when I get down here too. So as I'm coming here, and so by the time I get to my 10th value, same thing. So okay, there is the H. Now we're going to the HB. Okay. Now this one here, as always, as you can see, I'm actually using less pressure, and look how dark I'm able to get. So I'm going to come up here I'm going to try to get that. And you can already see I'm using much, much less pressure just to get the same amount. But I'm also, you can see lines here, here, and here. So you have to ask yourself why. Okay, now this will be the last one. Now see, I could probably went down a little bit of shade here. You can see also the lines are becoming more distinctive. Okay. So it's just what it does, it just makes you more accurate as toward what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so let's and what you're trying to see is you're trying to see a working example how these pencils are affected by how much pressure you're using. And each value has to be a little darker. So, you know, if you get up here in your so if I come in here and I really try to mash that down, you can see a distinctive line. Did I do the same here? It doesn't quite feel that way. But the object of the game is that by the time you're done, if you've done your job right, like right here. Okay, let's go back to that. That was 2H. Okay. Now I also want you to notice the difference between this color, and this color. These two aren't too bad. This one, though, gets a little darker. So, HB, H. Let me put that back here. Okay, I'm going to come down here. Now notice from here to here, it's a little quite a bit different. Now even though, and when I'm doing it, I'm watching as I'm going back to make sure I get a different grade on each single one. Because the inherent reason why you're doing this is really to teach yourself how to see more values and make your paintings more accurate. Let me go to my 2H here. I'm going to take this down a little bit. And things just start getting lighter and lighter. Okay, so those three. Now we're going to go to the B. No, hang on. We're going to go to the B. Again, now I'm using so little pressure on this, and this is just the B. I can go all the way through here, and I can try to get that value as dark as possible. And I'm already using a lot less work. And like I said, the object of the game is not to try to, don't scribble it, because you want a solid mass. So I can come in here and create these just like this. And notice I'm trying to not create lines either. Now what are you noticing though? When I go back, it's like I'm going back, I'm just trying to create that subtle shade. I'm using the previous pencil as my next thing, but it's kind of going like this, isn't it? Now why is that? Why is it getting darker? My values are moving this way darker, and as I'm going into as I move into softer pencils. That should be the question. Control the values, control the painting. So when I come here, I'm going to look. Actually, I'm getting a different effect. Okay, I want to take that down. And see, I'm not really pushing very hard, and look at that already. So these two values will always be close. As I'm moving down the mark, I'm always going back and just kind of shading them a little darker. So I'm getting this really kind of cool gradient effect working the sides. So you can kind of see that when I go back here, look at my HB, Because you can kind of see here. Back into this one. See, went a little dark there. Okay. I'm going to go to the 2B. Now watch this. This is what people don't understand about pencils, is that, look how much little pressure I had to do to almost get the entire thing. That's the reason why the 2Bs and 3Bs, the very soft pencils are kind of where we want to be when we're drawing or we're doing value sketches and stuff like that, because it gives us the tools to make a good, accurate drawing. And then, of course, I can come back in here and typically what I'd like you to see people do is when you're doing a value sketch, you do whatever pencil you're using, you do a value sketch underneath it, and that way you can match those values as you're going. Look how fast that went. And I'm just watching my values. I'm not trying to, what I'm not trying to do, I'm not trying to match these. I'm basically looking at this. And it's very hard to do because when you're looking at this, it's like, okay, how can we work those values? But see, you can already see that I can fill in, because it's such a soft lead, that when I do this, it fills in those pores of the paper. That's the reason why it looks darker. Not because it's a softer shade. It has everything to do with the softness and filling in the pores of the paper. And typically I like to see you just do one at a time. So this will just give you an overview. When you've done as many of these as I have, see here, here. Slight changes only. Move down to this one. We're going to start seeing a difference. Move down to this one. We're going to start seeing a difference. Now also one thing, look at the pencil. It tells you right there. I'll try to do that with one. So you go through a lot more pencil. From here. Wow. And you also have to use less pressure to get it down. So it's teaching you how to use your pencils and why this part is so important. Also, the softer the pencil is going to give you a more gradient, so you can actually do, if you wanted to do more there, it'd be easy. So that was the 2B. Now let's work with the 3B. I'm going to show this one here. Always amazes me. Look how dark that is right off the get-go. It's not even a question as toward what pencil I'm going to be using, because I can actually get this as dark as I possibly can. Look how it fills in the pores with little work. And you can see a difference between all of these values as I go in. I can also get darker and richer as I'm going down here, can't I? Notice a slight shift in the value. That's because I'm leaving more of the paper showing through. Now, if you do these right, these patterns, they are pretty cool to look at. See the shift in color? The problem we have is, like, we start moving to these values here. in order to even get close to these other values, I don't have to press very hard at all. So this is just something, hopefully I didn't move this out of camera. And all I'm trying to do I've been wanting to do one of these for a while. But you can see how easy I'm using so little pencil. So when I'm looking for my 2H to my 3B, this is what I get, this really nice gradient feel. So it's just something I want you to think about. And notice no erasers, nothing like that. And if we pull this out here, and we start looking at our grayscale here, you can see that the effect is different depending on the pencil we use. So that's one reason why I don't like necessarily using this. I like you to see it, but I want you to use the pencils you're using rather than the value finder, because this gives us an idea. You usually have a keyhole here, which I'll get some of those so you guys can see them. But for the most part, these little pocket guides for that, they work really good. So anyway, here's the value scale. Now if you want to get even more fancy, just do this. It's going to lift up a little bit of the pencil. It's going to smooth it out. It's going to make it look kind of cool. It's not going to change the dynamics of your values. And all you're doing is just kind of melding some of that color together. So there you go. And you can see the shift going from really light, because it's a hard pencil, to how easy it was to pull to a dark shade here. So I hope this kind of explains the use of values, what they mean on a value scale, how we use them, how you create them, why it's there. And so we get into the value sketches, it'll help you understand why we do this way. So anyway, guys, this is Mr. Bowers. Hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. And those are those pencils. Okay, Mr. Bowers out.